Hello, good friends. How are you? Yeah, so welcome again to another stream of the live coding session with Petindr and Elm. Let's do a quick recap of what we did last time, or times. Please find the past broadcasts in somewhere in the description or whatever. And I'm getting some feedback. Hang on. All right, sorry for that. I was getting some feedback in the browser. So what we did last time was we made sure that clicking on the I button worked. Let's demo that stuff. So clicking on this button shows the profile text, yay. Clicking on a like advances the pet list to the next pet. Clicking on dislike as well. And then clicking on like should match at some point, yay. So the server randomly matches you with returning a response code of true or false, and then when it's true, we should pop up this match screen. And then we also implemented the go back, where we just disable or hide the div and just show the regular pet list. And then at the end of the list, princess is always there. So that's what we did last time. Maybe I can show you that stuff in code a little bit. So here's some stuff I tried doing earlier, which can basically go like this. So here's our model. It consists of a show profile text boolean, our current pet, so the one that's being displayed right now, a list of next pets, which slowly shortens until none are left, and then princess is shown. Another boolean that shows or that tells us our view to show or hide the match overlay, and then another value to hold the possible matched pet, because we ran into some problems when we liked or when we matched with a pet. It was already suggesting us that we matched with the next pet in line, so we needed to retain that original pet that we matched with. We initialize our model with false princess, the next pets list, another false, and then the same as a current pet. We've got a couple of events that might happen in our application. One is our profile button was clicked, the dislike button was clicked, the like button was clicked. And then when you click on like, we send HTTP calls. And whenever those return, they either return with a matchmake was successful, unsuccessful, and then there's still this event that triggers whenever we click on the back button. So this seems rather evident, right? And then our update function reflects what we need to do whenever those events happen. So when a profile button was clicked, we should update we should toggle our show profile text value in our model. Whenever dislike button was clicked, we just advance the pet of our model. Then when like button was clicked, we also should advance pets, but only after we check whether or not it's a match. And then check match eventually does some matchmaking. Let's see, and there we go. And then when we evaluate, this stuff happens. And then advanced pet eventually, or well, sorry, matchmake was successful or unsuccessful, eventually just advances the pet, and with or without showing the match overlay. Then going back sets it back to false. Then advanced pet, the only thing that thing does is it just takes the head of our list and returns that as a next pet. and shrinks the remaining pets list as well. Is there anything else I should show? Probably not. So here's the HTTP call that we're doing. We're passing along a pet, and then we toString that pet ID, and then eventually a Boolean is returned from the server, and we need to decode that using this function here. So we can return a Boolean, and then that gets translated right here in this evaluate matchmaking response. Then what does our view look like? Well, it's basically just a header, a main container, and the other thing we did last time was we got rid of those locally scoped values that represented our profile text and our overlay, and we replaced it with conditionally rendering our profile text div based on the show profile text Boolean. And the same thing we did for our match overlay div. That's it. Cool. So that's about it. So that consists of this one, the like dislike. Liking should send an HTTP request. So that means we can create a separate Elm application and then chat with our pets. So let's follow with that stuff and see what's what. So we need to create a new Elm file called chat and use HTML to create it, or well, to eventually find the backdrop or how it should look like. We don't yet need to integrate it with our home.elm, and it should look like this. So it looks like we've got this window with a back button, the pet name, the pet's profile picture, and then text messages that we've exchanged, where the pink chat messages are us, because we can speak human, and then in the white it's the pet talking back to us, speaking chicken in this case, and then a send button to actually send our message. Cool. Then that's what's written here as well. Cool. Each time the user types, you can get message via on input. Okay, cool. And then you can bind the value in the model to an HTML input via value. Okie dokie. Check out the list API for useful functions dealing with a list of chat messages. Cool. Okay, so let's start off by creating our file. So we needed a chat.elm thing, is what he said, right? PS, I already branched, I think. Yeah, so we're doing LiveCoding the third, and I skipped the second because I forgot last time. You should create a new blah blah blah. It should look like chat.l.html. Oh, right. So a lot of stuff we can copy from over here, right? Which is all of this. In any case, excuse me. Then we'll need an update function. And we'll need a view function as well, right? Oh, by the way, I also switched to ligature fonts, so my arrows are a little nicer now. And so are these things. So it's really the pipe symbol. Did I forget something? I probably did. Like a model or something. And then this stuff, let's just go like this and then get rid of this shit we don't need. We'll probably need pets. No, I guess. I don't know what the model is supposed to look like just yet. But I guess it's like a list of messages already, right? So maybe let's call it a conversation. And let's say list of strings. There we go. There we go. Or maybe just leave it empty. Yeah, let's just leave it empty. Huh. Oh. There we go. Then what? Problem? Something, okay. Let's return model and CMD none. Maybe also as a tuple. All right, and we need to still define our message type as well. Type equals, I have no idea. What can we do? We can enter was pressed. I don't know. Right, something to take into account, like these are all the action that can happen on the chat screen, and the chat screen looks like this. So it's a send button. But both enter and clicking are gonna send out the same event, hopefully. So we'll see how that works. Maybe message got sent or something. Okie dokie. That should be it. We're not rendering anything. Let's change that. There was this chat.html, which is the mockup. So let's grab the body once again, I guess, or like everything between the body. Crap, and remember last time? Yeah, let's just do it here. And then join lines. HTML convert to Elm. Copy this stuff over here. All right, format that stuff. Type. Type is not to be, yeah. Okay, so here we'll have to follow Jan's advice to how to render an input text. Let's see what he recommends we do. So the user should be able to type some text, click on the send button. Something. Each time the user types, you can get a message via on input. You can bind via value, so maybe it's this thing. Oh no, so this is really like what should be here as like and it should say enter message. So we could already do that, I guess. Oh, here's a placeholder. So if I read the documentation correctly, it's because it says default value, and here it says initial value. Okay. Here it is, type underscore. Okay. That should do it. Right. And then the value is going to be our models entered text or something, which we don't have yet, so it's going to be fine for now. Let's see if this already works. It seems to be compiling. You can see that here's already like pet information. Yeah, I guess we'll need a matched pet stuff, matched pet as well. Matched pet, or maybe just pet because we're already chatting with it. So yeah, let's just do pet. Right, so now there's no pet in the model that we initialized. So let's just add princess as a pet, which we import through this statement right here. And that'll go to pets.elm, which will go to princess because we're exposing all of the things. All right, so it seems to be compiling. Let's start our Elm reactor. Then this can go. And we can go back to the root and then a refresh. Okay, so now our index HTML is going to be our chat application where we can enter text and where the send button is hidden behind the Explorer thing. So the debug thing. Okay, distance is already taken into account. Okie dokie. Great. Let's get rid of this since we don't need it anymore. So let's just start off with making more stuff variable. So like more dynamic, I mean. So for example, maybe not princess, but let's add a cricket or something, and then we can replace this with the pet URL. So this shouldn't be just a hard-coded string anymore, but it's the pet's URL, I think. It's just like that. No, I might have made the same mistake last time. Yeah, so I need photo URL. All right. So this is then the name. Pet name. And what else? Do we have something else? I think that's that. Let's refresh. Cool. So now there's cricket talking to us. Okie dokie. Now we already have the pet as a dynamic thing going on, but let's also add something that takes into account our conversation, right? So in this part right here is going to be our conversation because you can see here every chat item is or chat item self div contains the text that we want to render. So if we want to make this dynamic, what you could do is all of these things, right? All of the texts are messages. Now I want to know as well whether or not I was the one that sent the message or the matched pet was the other the other person. So because we want to have a difference in styling, right? Because we are talking in pink and they are talking in white, just white. Okay. So let's just start off with trying to render things that we placed there. So we can already like take a guess at our model now, I guess. because our conversation is not just going to be a list of strings, it's going to be a list of messages. I'm gonna call it maybe message, or chat message, maybe chat message. And then chat message can for now be just a simple string. And everything should still compile because it's still, in the end, it's still a string. And we haven't done anything with this conversation anyway. So let's start adding stuff to our initial model right here, where we say, hey there, cricky boo, cricket. Cool. And then we can start rendering our chat items as self chat items. So that means that this div class container is gonna need a list, but instead of a list of divs, we're gonna pass it a list of snap. Why is my, there we go. Okay. Tab moves focus. How do you change this? Oh my god. We're gonna pass along the model of conversation. And then maybe like a render conversation, which eventually should render stuff like this. And I'm just gonna use that. And then write my render conversation is something that takes a conversation and outputs HTML with a message. Oh, it's not convo equals this thing for now. Something's the matter. What stupid thing did I miss? Yeah, so I don't need, thinking. I do need it to be an array still, or a list. Yeah. Cannot find type conversation. Ah. Well, let's fix that. Okie dokie. Now what's the problem? Yeah, right. It's not an HTML, but we're doing a list of so I guess we could fix it like this, but then this would still complain because it's still requiring this and not a function. So we could do it like this, and then it would work. But then I'm not sure if I want it to look like that. I'm gonna need to do it anyway like this. Yeah, let's keep it like this for now, and then maybe switch it to append, to use append afterwards, and see where this takes us. Right, so our convo is a list of chat messages for now. So what we could do is we could case switch on convo. And then, oh, and it's an empty list, just do this. And otherwise, we can maybe like messages or something. We can map it, list dot map. Our, I forget, is it the function first and then, yeah, so render message or render chat message with messages. And then a message should look like that. So render chat messages or message is something that takes in a chat message. Let's type it. Chat message. And outputs this message. Okay. And then this really is just a message itself, because for now chat message is just a string alias. Also, I would like to know, do you guys like it if this thing is open because it sort of shifts all of the text into the center of the screen? Or do you guys not care? Or just give me some feedback. Mucho apreciado. So then what do we need to do still is like take into account other is going to be for later. So let's just put that into comments first. And then check if this stuff works as well. There we go. And it's just rendering the text that we added or that we set up as an initial model right here. Cool. So when you say it's fine, do you mean it's fine and let's leave it without the bar, or it's fine, leave it with the bar? Or yeah, I'm giving you guys too many options, I think. Let's see. Excuse me. So let's just go over what we just did. We extracted a function already to render our conversation from our model. And we pass that along to a function that takes in a conversation and that outputs a list of HTML messages, a div array. Then this render conversation function is nothing more than a map of all of the messages in that conversation list. And this map takes a function that's going to transform all of the elements within that conversation list. And it's going to translate them or transform them into HTML messages, aka divs in our case, because we want specific classes and a subdivs with eventually the message contained in it. So now we've got just our own message. Now we want to add a different kind, I guess, a different kind of chat message to be rendered whenever our chat messages of a different type, basically. So what we could do now is we can say we can say Let's think. So I think the way I'm doing this is going to be probably wrong. Because we could give our chat message a type, right? But you want your type to be contained within your type itself. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself correctly here, but the idea is that I basically want to write this case of message when it's a self chat message match chat message. I want to output this, and when it's a match chat message, I want this with the message. So now we could destructure this into something that looks like maybe something that looks like this, MSG maybe. Yeah. And then this is no longer just the message, but it's a tuple of a chat message type and a chat message. Oh, damn. Yeah, so this needs to be in the type declaration and not just in the, not here. Message type. Actually. Right. Now chat message type doesn't exist yet. And chat message type can be of, I forget already. It's this. Or this. Now our map doesn't just take. Wait, no. What's the matter? Ah, yeah. We haven't updated our conversation to be this tuple of chat message type and messages. And same for here. So here it should list a self chat message and cricky poo. And now it seems to be compiling, or rather not complaining. So let's check it out. Yep, still rendering. So now we can add, we can add something to our initial model. Let's see. Hang on, I saw your remark and you're probably right. So chat message type and then bark bark. It's the match chat message type. So the rendering works. Now let me read out some of your comments. With or without makes no difference since your code is not that long, to be honest. I mean, not like a lot on one line. Right, okay. And then Teckerson asks, any reason to have the tuple instead of the constructors for chat message type having parameters? So this is indeed something I want. I want my chat message type to just have a parameter that takes in a chat message, right? So type chat message is something that always has a chat message, and I think this is the way. I'm not sure if it works that way. Yup. And then maybe just make this into a string. Oh, Billy. String. And then get rid of this. And then these can just become chat messages. And then this needs to go as well. Nope. All right. And then this is, of course, just a chat message. And then I can check, is it like this? Because now I need to destructure it into something like this. Yeah, I think it should be fine. There we go. Ba-bam. So thanks for your suggestion, Tegerson. That was actually exactly what I wanted to do. Or it doesn't seem to be working. Oh wait, maybe I made a mistake. All right. Now it should be working. Hooray! Excellent. Cool. Right, so now what I want is I want to have a sip of my Coke. Right, so what we've done now is we have filled in the initial model. We are rendering a list of chat messages. And the only thing now, well, not the only thing, let's rehash what Jan is telling us to do, huh? Doopy-doopy-doo. All right, we can't actually have conversations with our pet just yet. So, how does that work? The user should be able to type some text and then click on the send button. Text he typed should be added to the chat messages list in the model. So we've taken care of this stuff. So visually it should be fine. Then the yeah, right. So when you click, input box should be cleared. The text he typed should be added to a chat messages list in the model. Right. So now let's make sure that whenever a user clicks on the button, that the stuff that he typed gets added to our well, no, not to our conversation. Okie dokie. So let's just start off with send button was clicked like this. And then let's see how that works, right? So we've got our, so I might be doing things wrong on purpose here. Just take that into account. Type is text, then there's a placeholder, and then we can add stuff to our value each time the user types. You can get a message via on input. You can bind the value in the model to an HTML input via value. So this is already like a good hint, I guess, because what we are going to need to do is replace the entry text via on input fire event. So maybe that's the stuff we need to do first. Okay, so we learned previously that we can add not placeholders, click handlers or handlers basically, using the first list, because these are all of the attributes of this element. In this case, we don't want the onClick event handler, but then an onInput event handler. And how does that thing work? It looks like it just takes the same thing. Yeah, target value. This seems to be more of like explanation on how what's the thing called, the actual event stuff works in HTML. So let's try not doing this. Where's the message type? So maybe not send button was clicked. Okay, fine. But also text was entered, and then send that. Aha. Something that takes a string and then outputs a message. It takes a string, so some text, and it outputs this. But so now I'm always doing this, so maybe I want to add the some text. Yeah, and then some text was entered. Yeah, and then this is the actual text. So this is a string. Okie doke. So I did it like this just to make it more explicit, I guess, but it's something that takes a string and outputs a message. But really, you could replace it with this. Where's the like this? It's the same thing. So this is a like lambda notation. So I could inline it, or I could write it like this. Not really sure what to prefer. Okay. I guess I chose something. So then our update is now always doing the same thing, which is just returning a model and then a none. But what we want to do, at least something that we want to do, is we want to update a value of our model that contains the text that got entered. Okay, but I'm already thinking, because it can be null. It can be null. Let's see. Yeah. So this is our conversation. This is the we're having a conversation with. So maybe let's move this up a bit. And then maybe keep the conversation as a last bit. because that's gonna make our constructor function a little bit, whoa, a little bit more legible. I really need to add a shortcut for that. How do you call that thing? Let's think. Our text, I guess. Wait, maybe not here, but in our, yeah, this is our definition. Our text, which is just a string. And then it can be an empty string. And then what we want are, where is this update function? Right here. So whenever case of our message is text was entered with text, we can do something, and then whenever else, we're just gonna return model with command none. And in the case of text was entered, we want to update our model where we say, well, our text now equals model, or wait, no, text with command none. Seems legit. The lambda is not necessary. I don't think you need a lambda. The text was entered constructor is a function of that. Oh yeah, of course. That's dumb. Okay. Wait. Oh yeah. Yeah, like this. Yeah. So now, whenever on input is called, on input takes, text was entered as an argument, and this is a function that translates a text into a message because it's a constructor that takes a string. Phew. Damn. Okay. Learning new concepts while on stream. Epic. Okay, so what we did now was we made sure that our text gets updated whenever we type. So let's see if that stuff actually works as well. Let's click this thing open as well. And then we can, let's make it a little bit shorter, because in this case it also doesn't really matter. Let's type. So as I typed, our text got gradually updated, right? With some more text. Cool. Clearing works. Sending works. Cool. Then what? Whenever we clicked, I think we needed to, oh wait, let's get rid of this thing. Yeah, so now, okay, I'm gonna drag that stuff out of there and then read this part. Yeah. Yeah. So now it's let's click on the button and then have it added to the chat messages in the list. So we can click on the button, I guess, right here. And then what we need is an actual click handler. So on click, send button was clicked. No. Let's just do it like this for now. So then when send button was clicked, we could thinking of how to properly do this actually. Because what we could do now is we could say, well, our conversation now equals where is this thing? I think it's just plus plus is also append for one that we want to have for lists, and then we want to just add our text. Let's see if that stuff works. I guess not. Why is that? Yeah, so append is expecting this thing to be a conversation as well. So we could do it. Ooh, we could not. Why not? Oh yeah. Yeah, of course, it's not a chat message. Chat message. Wait, not a chat message, a self chat message. Like this. Clickety click. This is a test. And there. Seems to be working. Cool. Now, I don't really like the way this stuff looks. Because what I really want to write is something where let's like do it in tiny pieces. So I want my I want this to be extracted somewhere because I want to add something to our conversation. So maybe like add to conversation model dot conversation and model dot our text, something like this. And then our add to conversation is something that takes a conversation and then also takes a string, no wait, a chat message and returns a conversation. And then we could write it like this. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna add this in between braces just to make it clear that it's the second argument. I could also write it like this, as we also learned last time. Now, when you read this, I think there is like a different way of doing this as well, because I think what you could do as instead of writing it like this as well, you can go like list dot append, right? Put two lists together, and this is adding it to the front of the list. Is it concat? No. Hmm. Hmm. Nope. Yeah, no. Then I forget, and it really can be just like something like this, I guess. But really what I wanted to do is like make it more specific, because now our add to conversation takes in this thing, but maybe like it is already like a chat message, right? Mm. Mm. Yeah, so what I could do now is add self to convo, which is exactly this thing, but instead of a chat message, it's a self chat message that has a, well, we already know that chat message is something that takes this thing is something that takes a string. So what we could do here, oh, okay. Oh, or we could do it like this, conversation. Sorry. I really want this to be a string. That's the thing I wanted. And then add to conversation with self chat message with MSG. And then I can just go like this. Yeah. Or not. Oh yeah. So this is lacking this thing. Hmm. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of happy with this. It's okay. Yeah. Thanks, Teckerson. So what's next is, yeah, we also needed to clear our text. So what we could do now is like, let's write like a little let in thing, and then call this our text maybe. Or really, it's just clearing, right? So. I'm torn. I am torn. Did. Okay, and then updated text or clear text. Let's see if that works. It doesn't. Oh yeah, it does actually. It does clear our model because our text is now equal to blank, but we haven't bound this input text's value to something in our model. So let's do that right away. I need something. I need Jan's value thing. This is this part. So it's also a first thing right here. So it's going to be value, and it's going to be bound to our text. Now let's see what happens. Hmm. Hmm. Doop 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 doop. I'm a bit puzzled. We are updating all of this stuff, right? Try the old reboot. Yeah, enter's not working yet. Okay. You can see it being updated and also being cleared, but then this text still is not being cleared. Is it because I'm passing a blank? Maybe I should like update it with updated or something, and then make it visible. Nope. Okay. I'm gonna guess we'll need some more reading on this thing then. You can bind the value in the model to an HTML input via value, which is something that we did, is something in, and we noticed that our model is getting updated as well, because this is the stuff that we're doing. Oh man, it's great if you add this thing to a button that you're not using. Cool. So it needs to be here. Explore history. updated. Yay. Test. Send. Yay. LOL. Cool. So now let's also make sure that when we press enter, then it works as well. I'm unsure how to do that. Or actually, is that part of the exercise? Yeah, and click on the send button. Yeah. Okay, let's just do that then. Maybe also do this, and then maybe something is in there that I can use. Yeah, I don't want to console, right? Or do I? I could keep on reversing, but it's the thing about reverse is that apparently it causes, like, you shouldn't use it because it's some performance hit that you take or something. I don't know. Come on, where's the reverse? Reverse. Yeah, they absolutely say nothing about it, of course. Yeah, the way that we do it now is fine, I think. I was just thinking about this stuff here, the append. By the way, I can also write it like this, of course, list.append, and it is the same, but you can also use the infix operator. Okay. Yeah, let's see what we need to do to also make sure that whenever we press enter, that the button gets pressed, basically. And that's going to be somewhat annoying because we're going to have to do that, all of that stuff, and the text was entered. Oh, sorry about that. And the text was entered update function right here. Because here we don't just want to update our text, because we also want to evaluate what this thing actually was. Now we can do this two ways. Either we just pass it along to a function that we then just keep on calling, or what we could do is just do our pattern matching in here. And here I could go like whenever text is actually, I forget that. Oh my god, I forget. It's like what is the key code? This key code stuff. Do Elm key code stuff? Key code. Oh. To code. Okay. Yeah, this is not that's something I wanted. Because I was thinking maybe I could just go like this. To code, and then the text that got entered. But then Yeah, I can't. I can't. Let's do it. Let's do it in here instead. Okay, cool. It would work, I think, if text was entered, wasn't taking a string, but a key code instead. Can we? I guess we can't fix that because below our on input expects something that is a function that uses a string and outputs a message. And outputs a message. We could do it in here then, I guess, and make this into a function. Input handler or something. And then input handler is something that takes a string, outputs a message. And then for now, it can be text was entered with text. Now it's the same, but I could change it into this thing where I try to do a to code on text, and then when to code, no, to code, I'm not sure if this works. I hope it does. Or maybe I can go like this, actually. Char. Case of code when it is in fact key code. Enter key code. 32 or something, 20. Enter 13. Then I want to say enter, well, maybe like text was entered, yeah. Text was entered with char, I guess. And otherwise, wait, no, not text was entered. Otherwise, it's a send button was clicked. What? Oh yeah. Now I need to import this stuff. It's in char. Import char. Yeah, a string. So I could go like this probably. Balls. String then. Call this text again. And we don't need to do a toString then anymore. And then hopefully there is a something that, no, Hmm. So basically, the thing I'm looking for, maybe in the helpers, input helpers. No, and now we're already in maybe something. So basically, what I'm looking for is something that takes, well, that transforms a string into a char, and then it should be fine. Hang on. I don't think the on input handle will fire when you hit enter anyway. Oh yeah. That's also something. Probably on key down is in there as well. On key down. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Mouse enter, submit. Maybe we could do it with on submit. Yeah. That might help as well. Then we can do send button was clicked probably. And then, oh man, I've been forgetting to commit, haven't I? But it was basically this, right? Or not? Oh yeah, so it doesn't need this, right? Cool. Let's check it out. Derp, enter. No, no dice. Then our button isn't part of a form or something, probably. There's got to be like some other input thing, right? Input. Handlers. Because where is on input in here? Events. There's also a keyed. No, it's something different. On key up. Ah, so you need a decoder. So someone is asking, can you state reasons why you would switch to Elm? Man, I guess because of the type safety, the fact that you can do, where is this case stuff with the model? So let's say that we haven't, or we forgot, aka it's a bug, we forgot to do something whenever the case of text was entered was there, and we only implemented send button was clicked, then Elm is going to complain with a very clear message saying that we don't have matches for all the possibilities, and we also need to take into account that there's an event called text was entered. So because of this stuff, your compiler gives you the quickest feedback there is, and that's the thing I like the most about Elm, basically. So the fastest feedback you can get. That's like the main reason for me, yeah. And then the other thing is that the learning curve is steep, but because of how constrained Elm is, it allows for like a smaller range, or like a smaller world you need to be able to fit into your head. Because let's say you do Angular at first, for example, you have to learn TypeScript, I guess. You have to learn how Angular works, or how you have to work with components, etc. But then um, there are like a million things or a million ways you can use um, to implement the same to-do list, for example. In Elm, you're somewhat limited in how well, what you can do with it, because there's always going to be the Elm architecture. So that's basically this little main program right here. So that's like one of the better advantages, I think, which also sort of takes away how hard it is to learn Elm in itself. And then you can basically do anything with it you like. It's pretty fast as well, I've heard, but I'm not really sure about all of that stuff. Yeah, so I think it's worth learning in any case, because learning how to do functional programming is worth it in and of itself, I think. That's the main reason why I'm learning Elm in any case. And then Oleg asks, is it worth learning besides front end? Well, yeah, so I just answered. I'm learning it because of the functional aspects of functional programming. I'm not at all good at it at all, as you might have noticed. But I'm learning, so I think that's like the biggest message I can give here. Yeah, so guys, if you have any more other questions, ask and I'll try and answer them. So right, where were we now? We were reading up on how on input was working, and then we also came across this key code thing here, where we could look into how to deal with on key down events. There's also like this on options thing, huh? Yeah, so how you would need to implement one when you do with an on click, you could do it like this. So then I guess you could also write an on key down and then whatever, parse it or something of the kind. Also, Oleg also adds that he's thinking about getting more into functional program, and I've been looking for a language to do so. I think Elm is really like an excellent language to start learning about functional programming, because the documentation on the Elm architecture itself is great. There's an excellent community behind it as well. And it's not just Evan committing all the time. There's also like a really helpful bunch of guys in the Elm Slack channel. Sure, if you just Google Elm Slack, and then you'll probably come across it. So there you go. You get an invite here. Apparently the nodes need to spin up because it's been a long time. There we go. So just register here, join on the Slack, ask your questions there. They're insanely helpful. Yeah. And then I think it's better than, for example, Scala or something. If you know Java, you'll have an inclination to start with Scala. I did that as well, and I learned about pattern matching there. And then I came across Elm because a colleague of mine, the guy that actually wrote this stuff, Jan, uh, taught me about Elm. He showed me that it was functional programming, and I like it a lot. It's very neat, it's very constrained, which I need to learn better. So that's why I think Elm is a good language to start learning functional programming in. But don't take my word for it. There's gonna be smarter people out there, uh, for sure, that that can give you a better answer on that in any case. There's going to be the purists as well, so take that into account as well, I guess. I really hate anything Java related. Yeah. I'm starting to have the same thing. Especially when you see like a more elegant way of programming like this. It really is, yeah. Jan is a really awesome guy. So thank you, Jan, for making Petindr, because it's not another boring to-do list. Right, so where were we? We were trying to get this on with options thing, or like write a custom event handler so that we could make our own on key down event handler. So what is this thing gonna need? So here you can see, well, on click is something that's gonna take a, this is like the actual definition of the on click handler that we can see here. So what we could do is write our own, so on key down. That looks like this as well, I'm guessing. But then we're gonna need this instead and not just on. So hang on, let's just try and do this step by step. On key down, something that takes a message, then in this case we want on and then a click, but so that's how this thing looks like. So we want an on, we want a click, but not a click in this case. We want a key down, key down, key down, like this. And then it says just JSON succeed message. Yeah, of course I haven't imported JSON succeed. Or this in this case. But I think what we're gonna need is this thing in any case, because we want to be decoding stuff as well. All right, and we need to do all of this crap. Fun times. Everything is false by default. But I want to stop propagation and prevent default, because I want to stop my HTML event from bubbling up. Yep. So let's just use on with options instead already from the get-go. On with options, we'll need a string which remains, and then this thing and this thing is the same as well, but we'll need stop propagation and default, and we want them both to be false. Voila. Okay, and then this is the stuff that we needed to decode now. Key down, send button was clicked. Maybe. Maybe we can even write something like this, because what we really want to do is just have like an on enter, right? And that means that, for example, there was another thing like on input. It grabs the string, so it will not work if you need some other type of, for example, if you want to drag inputs on a range. And this also redirects to this thing. So there is already a decoder for a string, a bool, and then a key code as well. Yeah, so I guess we can use this then. So we'll need JSON map, and then don't do target value, but do key code, right? Do key code. Or how does that thing work, man? For grabbing event target checked. Grabbing. So I guess what this thing does is returns a boolean then. So eventually then it can't be just enter. Then we'll really need to do on key. Oh man. On key down. And then import this. Did we not import this before? Oops. It wasn't bool, I was just JSON map. Okay. Oh yeah. No. I'm having a hard time with this stuff. I don't get importing submodules from another module. So wait, it's not even in events. On click. If this is confusing, work through the Elm architecture tutorial. It really does help. Yeah, this is correct. Read more here, which is what we clicked on first, I guess. JSON.decode. So does this have a map or what? It does. Wait, because map, then I don't need this one anymore. Yeah. So what you could do as well is alias this into reading JSON, but I forget how to do that. So it's something like as JSON or something. Yeah, okay, cool. Makes sense. And now it's just JSON. Cool. Cannot find variable tagger. Do you want to? I'm not sure. I am not sure. That was from the on stuff, right? And here, tagger was coming from this stuff. Something that translates a string into a message. But then in this case, we already have something to decode this, right? And that's the key code thing. Key code? Key code. Wait, so why is it something that takes something from an int to a message? Oh yeah, because so this is my dagger or something. What? Mm. Yeah, and then of course this breaks now because now I need to have a function that says whether or not the enter key was pressed, basically. Send on enter or something, and then send on enter is something that takes an int and outputs a message. And then I can translate this int into a key code. So the thing was to code. Actually, no. Key equals to code key. If this thing was, wait, case of blah. When it was the enter. I forget, it was 13, right? But then it's already the key code, this thing. Can you go like this? Because it was an alias, right? The key code. So key code, go like this. When key code was 13, aka enter was pressed, then go send button was clicked. Otherwise, don't do shit. How do you say don't do shit? Nope. Now we're in trouble. When nothing happens, just return model and none. And now we're stuck here again. Why is that? Ah, oops. Holy guacamole. So maybe this last part was a bit fast. It was fast for me. So let's see what we did here. We wrote our own on key down event handler that takes a function send on enter, and send on enter evaluates the key code that was entered. Entered with the keyboard, I mean. When it is 13, then fire a send button was clicked message. Otherwise, fire a no op event or a message. Sorry. then this one we already had, because when you click it, you fire a send button was clicked. So now it's not accurate anymore, right? We need to rename this. And then in the case of nope, what we do is, so that's like the wildcard again. We just return the model that we got in and also don't send a command. Then the other thing that we did was we wrote this on key down custom event handler, basically, that hopefully is going to work with a key down text, because this is basically convention that we can read up on. Where can we read up on this again? Well, somewhere in here there's like this, here. Maybe here or something. The first argument is the event name in the same format as with JavaScript's add event listener function. So there should be an on key down. An on key down. So it's this one that we're triggering now. We might have an on key up, or we might need that one, in fact. Then we also pass along our options. And options is nothing more than a record that contains two values. One is to say, wait, these both need to be true. So because false was the default, because we want to stop propagation of the event bubbling, and we also want to stop our submit button to accidentally fire whenever we press enter as well. And that's what these things mean. Then we need to provide a decoder, is I think what they are called. And then this thing is the function that translates, or that you need to do the translation, basically, from a key code to, or an int actually, to a message. Maybe can we make this into a key code? I guess it's going to be more explicit, right? And key code, this works because key code is still just a type alias for an int, but it's more explicit. So let's keep this. Right, and then that's that. Let's see if this stuff works. Ooh, so exciting. Type. No! It's I'm getting the no op thing now, of course, because key down is overriding the on input thing. So let's see. So if I want to do this, well, where do I get my thing from then? Because I wait, hang on. So let's first try if the clicking enter actually works. Because I cannot just do this, right? Text was entered. Because this needs a string. This needs something like this, right? So I can do test. And now whatever I write in there, it's always going to be test. And it's going to be entered. Okay. T. And now there's test in there. But when I press enter, test is in there. Let's type B, test. Okay. So enter seems to work. Now I only need to figure out how to do this. Because I don't want to send a no op. What I really want to do... Ooh. Maybe I can like Oh yeah, nee. Because on key down is always gonna expect a key code into a message. And then this is like this dagger function, which is taking a key code and making it into a message. Where does this thing come from? Well, see, then I don't understand that. No. So what I need is this thing. Well, I'm gonna get rid of this thing because I'm gonna have to handle our key down events here. Maybe I can, if I switch it into key up, will it work? Key up. And then this thing should also be key up. Now I'm just trying shit out, right? Yeah, fine. Oh. But bam. Now why does that work? Because key down already it blocks events from happening because of this stuff. And that means you can't type anything basically. Every time you click on any key on your keyboard, these events get fired and then no op gets triggered as well. But in my case, whenever I let go of something, some key, thanks for the follow by the way, Tekerson. Whenever you let go of something, then and only then the rest of the propagation is being blocked. And in our case, well, letting go of the D button doesn't do anything, but then on input already registers. It also fires, I mean, and then does its thing, but on key up, it only blocks when you let go of it, and then our enter still works as well because, but only on the key up then. Victory! Victory! Cool. Guys, thanks for sticking with me on this tough nut to crack. Let's see if we can make a little commit right now, actually. Well, this is gonna be quite huge. Add all the things. Wait, what do we change to home? Nothing. Okay. Okay. Really nothing, right? Okay then. That's weird, right? Elm. And oh yeah, shit. Let's commit first, saying, what we did, what did we do? We chat functionality. Oh, functions without backend. Maybe something like that. And then reset hard. Okie dokie. Reactor. See if everything still works. Oh yeah, so what our Elm reactor, what it does is it will only change one file, I think, because we're in the front end, and it will transpile everything into this index HTML. Can I see this stuff? Yeah. And basically what the only thing that it does is it'll recompile the last saved Elm file in your root, and then code it into index.html. Now you can pass along other arguments so that you can have both an index for a home and both an index for a chat. But in this case, it will work fine. So let's refresh this thing again, and then go like type something, press enter, type something else, and then actually click on the send button, and then that stuff works as well. Yay. Excellent. Yeah, by the way, you can see the no-op thing triggering as well. See, because text was entered triggers first, because that's the on input triggering, and then you let go of the D key, and then the on key up triggers, and it sends out the no-op thing as well. So that's also, by the way, if you guys are watching this for the first time, this is the Elm debugger. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger as well. Yeah, should be fine. Now, stuff that's in here, I'm in debugging mode now, and this is like the last thing I did. But I can also click on the first event that happened, where I just pressed T and then let go of the T button, then press the I. Ooh, and then my fingers were already on the P apparently. And then I get two on key ups, and then type something. Oh, type something. Here's the G, and then I click on the button, and when I did that, our model reestablishes itself, or resets. Our text thing gets reset. So whenever like someone is testing your program, and this is like another really cool thing about Elm that is gonna help you guys in your productivity, is you can export this thing. You can export this thing. You can export. So in some way you can actually export this thing. No. Man, why is it not working? Ah, there we go. So you need to have resumed your thing, and then when you export it, you can download this history text file. It'll get opened in your favorite editor, and it appears to be JSON. And then what does it say? It lists the version of your Elm that you're using, what the thing was that you were looking at, and then all of the events basically, right, of your model. And then some, so let's say some of your testers have been doing their testing with the debugger on, and they've come across some bug in the application. They click export, they pass the file on to you, you click import, and you can see exactly what they've done to reproduce the bug basically. So goodbye trying to reproduce any of this. And then if you're super cool, you can probably also write something that does this stuff automatically, or there might have been someone really smart that's already written a library to do exactly that, and then integrate it in your tests, in your continuous integration tests. Okay, let's see, we've got 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then it's 9. So I think I'm gonna clean up a little bit, and then stop the stream at some point. Maybe like do this and just inline it or something, because it just seems silly, right? Or wait, no, now it actually it looks like a bug. Clear. Clear what? Clear model dot. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. This is actually rather silly. Yeah? Let's just keep it like this then. A join lines. Right, so next week we are gonna do something about this and then not have it be a static list that gets dynamically added when we enter stuff, but also let's set up WebSockets. It's actually in the description. Let's set up WebSockets to connect to a backend server that will then reply whenever we send our pet some messages. So that's gonna be really sweet because then we are finally gonna be able to talk to chickens. Oh, yeah. So I'm excited about that. What else can we actually do here? I guess it is fine for now, right? We added this to a type alias for a list of chat messages, but I think we can do much more with this once we it only seems logical that you're able to do something more like use a more rich domain language, I guess, to do stuff with your conversation. Because now what we have is add to conversation. It's sort of okay-ish, I guess, but it's still right in this single file. And we've always been working in a single file for simplicity reasons, because then I can just scroll. And yeah, you can see it's not really that much of code in any case, but it's not neat. And I like neatness. You see, this is something I like, is neatness. You wouldn't say that when you look at my code, but it's something I like. Where are we at, man? Yeah, so I don't need this body. Ah, yeah, so this is a glass body, not to be mistaken with the actual body element. Yeah, no, I think it's this looks fine actually. All right, thank you guys for sticking around. I welcome feedback as always. So I plan to be streaming again next week. Normally it's gonna be on Wednesday, but if not, it's gonna be any other day of the week probably. I will start at 7, or that's at least something I try to be consistent at. Yeah, any feedback is welcome. Just leave it in the comments or in a chat, or tweet me. I think I added some widgets or something to the stream today, but I think I also need to add like Twitter handles and stuff like that. Also, to anyone from the Agile Software Factory watching this, please come talk to me, send me a message on Slack if you also want to, or maybe only if, even if you're just interested, come talk to me and I can help you set this thing up so we can do this more. And then it's not just me streaming. You can even do it without camera for me. I don't really give a crap. As long as we're showing some cool stuff online and then making people richer. Well, richer in a mind, of course. Cool. So thank you guys for watching once again, and then I'll see you guys. Oh wait, why only once a week? Well, that's basically what my time slot, or the time slot I can attribute it to with me just streaming on my own. It's not something I want to be doing full time. I also want to be playing some PUBG. I need some of that sweet chicken dinner. So yeah, that's about it. But if anyone from the Agile Software Factory is interested in doing this, please just approach me, and then I'll help you set it up on your PC or laptop or whatever. Cool. So see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Bye.